Good morning, Coach Tina here. Happy Monday, you guys. This is the Monday before Halloween, is tomorrow in the United States. Halloween, if you aren't familiar with it, is kind of a crazy holiday. And we celebrate it with lots of excitement in our United States. And it's a day. My favorite part of Halloween is the positiveness behind it because I treated it as something fun with my kids. So I did. The Halloween costumes were a big deal in our home because my first niece was born on Halloween, and my stepmom made her a costume. And then she made her brother a costume. And then when my children were born, my daughter was born in October, she got her first costume, which was a skunk. And she was absolutely adorable, a little 6-pound skunk. She cried the entire time. And she was not happy that I made her a skunk, but I thought it was so much fun. So I have really fond memories of my stepmom making costumes for my kids. And every year they got to ask, I'd say, "What do you want to be?" And grandma would make them anything. I remember my one daughter one year became Sleeping Beauty. So she was so excited about being Sleeping Beauty. Well, my younger daughter didn't want to be upstood, right? And so she decided she wanted to be the Rose of Sleeping Beauty. No, 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 no. Beauty and the Beast. So you know how the rose petals fall off and everything? My daughter wanted to be the rose. And so my stepmom was so sweet and patient. She made her this beautiful like headdress that was a rose, and she was wearing this green cape that was the petals and everything. It was absolutely beautiful. But that was what my stepmom did. So all of this to say, good morning. I'm so happy you guys are here. I see Margaret is here and she's live. So if you are watching live, please go ahead and let us know. I'm going to make sure that we are live on Facebook for everybody, pinned to the screen. And it just takes me a second. So sorry about this awkward moment, but it is what it is. I am super excited this morning. We did not make the move this weekend like we anticipated. Like many of you, we got crazy weather and it rained. And so instead of packing the car in the 37-degree rain, we decided to, okay, I've got this pinned to the top, which is what I needed to do. And we are good now. So what we decided to do was just keep packing, and then my husband's going to move over this week. So I'm a little bit in two different places, and I am settling into it as it's okay. We are going to be just fine. So let's get going with today's Monday morning motivation. We have this every Monday, 7 a.m. my time. I know if you're in the California area or somewhere on the West Coast, it's a little early for you, which is why we do the replays. And then we've got 8 a.m. if you're in the New York area of the US, and a lot of people pattern off of Eastern time. Don't forget, next week we will be coming right out after the time change in the United States, and that always sets things into a little bit different. Change is good, right? You got to embrace it and try it on for size. So just know that we will be doing that next week. We've already mentioned, if you're watching live or on the replay, go ahead and let us know. I love looking back and seeing your comments, letting me know who's watching and if the material is working for you. This is a weekly benefit for being in the community, and I want to add value. So I'm always looking for new topics. If there's something of importance to you, something that would be helpful to you, just DM me, let me know that you are processing this certain emotion or this scenario has happened in your life, and I would be happy to unpack that in our community. But today we are going to be talking about purposefully not procrastinating. This is an interesting predicament, right? Look at all those P's popping out of me. Because I got a question for you. Who can honestly say that they don't procrastinate? I think that there's something in all areas of our life where we struggle to get it done. And we may not call it procrastinating. We might just say that we're too busy or we're overwhelmed with everything, or everything's an emergency or we have too many priorities. So we don't say necessarily that we procrastinate, but yet when we look at the end of the year, especially at our goals, the things we meant to get done, we kind of beat ourselves up, whether it's the end of the year or the end of the month or the end of the week, because we didn't follow through in the way that we originally intended. And I think we just need to be really honest with ourselves about what's happening. See, procrastination is when we delay doing what is in our best interest to do. It's not the stuff like taking out the trash because, yeah, okay, so best interest, you don't have a stinky house. But it's procrastinating on the big things that actually move you forward that you hold yourself back on. So that's what we want to be watching for. Okay. And Margaret says, anyone who says they don't is lying to themselves. Yes, we all do that at times. And Tony Robbins always has that funny look he gets on his face when he talks on this topic where he says, if you lie about this, you lie about everything in your life. And so, I always like to talk awareness. And so we're going to go into a discussion on this purposefully not procrastinating topic. Before we do, though, I want to let you know that if you don't know me yet, I am Coach Tina, and I am the founder of the Empowering Champions community. I am also a certified ULA life coach, and I have been trained in the Robbins Madonnas training. It's called Core 100, and I'm currently in Core 200 in the breakthrough modules, so accelerated in the type of training that Tony Robbins does. And I just love his stuff. So between the 7 key areas of life framework where we look at balance and growth, and Tony Robbins' strategic work, I do this thing called like strategic transformation, where we just get really intentional about what is going on in our life. And so that's why we're bringing up this topic, because I have seen time and time again that what's really holding people back is procrastination. And so today we're going to talk about the 3 reasons that we can move forward on the things that we want to do by purposefully not procrastinating. And so the very first topic is, don't call yourself a procrastinator. And this is important because if your identity is as a procrastinator, what are you going to tend to do most often? Well, you're going to procrastinate. So if you've adopted this as kind of a thing you say all the time, like I procrastinate, or I just am lazy, or I don't, and you give yourself that label, you are already setting yourself up for fail. So you don't want to identify with that part of yourself. You want to be aware of it. You want to see that it's happening, but then you want to take it to the next level. So I want to just dig a little bit deeper on this. Don't call yourself a procrastinator. And the example that often comes up is in the area of smoking. They did studies on people who smoked, okay? And the people that quit and said that they didn't smoke had quit smoking, they were still identifying with being a smoker. But when they said the words, I don't smoke, they no longer participated in that activity. Do you see the difference in the nuance there? One of them, they still identified with the activity they didn't want to do. It was still part of their identity. So when stress, when they got themselves in that situation again where it was natural, it had become a habit to smoke, they did it. Whereas those who said, not going to happen, never going to do that again, they changed their identity around that scenario. They were non-smokers, and it was a non-negotiable. Nothing about the external things that happened was going to change the shift in their mind that said that was not who they were anymore. And so we need to adopt that with procrastination. If procrastination is causing you to not reach the level that you want to be at, then you need to take control of your life and do something about it. And so let's move on to digging deeper. I've talked about awareness as being key to procrastination. So knowing that you procrastinate or knowing that there's procrastination going on is great. But once you identify it, that's when you need to dig deeper. You need to understand what's behind this thing. That's why in the classes we've been having lately and the topics we've been talking about, I've been kind of helping you pull the layers off of your onion and kind of look below the surface and say, what is it that is really causing this? So one of the things we've been doing is we've been talking about the emotions. And what's funny is when we talk about what we want, right? Our desired destination, that thing out in the future, our mountain moments, whatever it is, that idea of what we want in the future is usually compelling. It draws us to it. And it does that because we can associate an emotion with the accomplishment of the thing that we want to achieve. So let's say that you're where you are now, you want something in the future, and we're going to call that like our distant point. So if A is where you are and C is where you want to be, then you've got this gap between where you are and where you want to be. And you have to do something to have that action. You have to do that action in order to get that result, that emotion that you're tied to. But what if, let's say the thing that we want is to be happy, okay? How many of you want to be happy as your future emotion? That's one of the things. There's something joy, there's some excitement, there's something that goes with that. But what if you have a rule set that says you don't deserve to be happy? Okay, we can only operate on one set of rules at a time, kind of like you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. Those are two conflicting emotions, and you can only have one or the other, or your brain starts to kind of fry up and go, I don't know how to do that. So if you want something that makes you happy, and yet you don't believe you deserve happiness, your brain goes into conflict. And guess what? You don't do the middle part because you don't actually want the thing that you say that you want, or you do, but it's in such conflict that you can't overcome it. So I see that a few comments coming through on here. All right. Okay. So Sarah's watching too. I'm so excited that you're on here, and thank you for watching. So that has been my issue because of the life I've had from childhood into my adulthood. Very interesting, right? And so once we start to investigate deeper into, what we would do at this point if not thinking you deserve to be happy was a message that you have, a rule that you've written for yourself, we would start to investigate the truth behind why you don't believe you can be happy. Okay. And sure, emotion is going to surface, memories are going to come up. And this is why some people tend to just be like, not going to do it. And we put masks on, right? If you noticed on the like teaser for today, I put a little mask over my face. And obviously I was thinking Halloween and so on. But I did it because when we put a mask on, we project out into the world a different facade, if you will, of who we are and what our life is about. And so we want people to believe we're normal and like everybody else. And so we just act like it's okay to have a dream and not go after it. That's just what we do. We procrastinate, or everything is more important than us. And yet in our hearts, that hurts. We start to see it and we're like, no, I deserve to live the life of my dreams. Like, why would we be given this desire in our hearts if it wasn't meant that that's what we were supposed to be? I often think of when I talk about the seed growing into the seedling, and then it starts to really grow and the leaves come out. And if the seed is a flower, what is that seed doing? It's working and working and working and working, growing, growing, growing. And then boom, it makes this bud and it blooms and it's this beautiful blossoming flower, right? That we get to walk by and see the beauty of and experience the greatness of that moment. Well, it's like we're those flowers and we know that we're meant to bloom. We know that that's what's coming, but we can't figure out how to do it, even though that's what we're meant to do. Like we don't have to work so hard. That's the human condition that we put onto ourselves. But we feel this draw to be more, to do more, to experience it in a different way. And if we don't uncover that, we don't get to be what we're meant to be. We don't get to grow to our full potential. And that is what worries me about just doing life and just thinking that it's okay that you're not where you think you should be. We have got to get that shovel out and dig out ourselves out of the hole. Basically, we have got to figure it out. And so when we tell the truth about why we think we don't want to be happy, when we examine that, what we might find is a bunch of issues come up that we are able to handle because we're adults now. Like most of our issues are from when we were less than 7 years old. A condition was experienced that we built a rule set on, that we then built our whole life around. And now that we're older, we actually have the skills and the ability through our adulthood to change things. And yet we don't recognize it because that little girl, let's call it persona, is so strong, was so deeply affected, was so wounded that our adult side can't come through and fix it. And so when we start to see it in the right way, the adult can swoop in and help us see a different way. So when we uncover the truth, we can then do something about it. So that is actually the third thing, and that is do something about it. As you see procrastination popping up in your world, you need to take an action. Just like anger is a sign that you need to do something, or sadness is a sign that you need to communicate something. Our emotions happen for a reason. And so procrastination is a experience for us so that we can do something about it, so that we can take that moment, analyze it, and take an action against it. We're not meant to stay there and be stuck. And so one of the things that I did about this, we've been doing this for it hasn't been a year. I have a piece of hair that is in my eye, you guys. That's why I keep messing with my hair. And I think I just got it. So I have been working on this topic, but obviously when I work on a topic, when I bring things up, when I'm talking here, I am having the same experience. I am going through things. I am examining my own stuff, right? And so one of the things I did is I went, okay, I've been talking about procrastination for a while. Have I learned other skills about procrastination? And so I started researching and doing things. And I did find a book that I found very useful. And it's by Wendy Dryden. And it's just called Overcoming Procrastination. She's actually an English writer. And I found her Kindle edition is like $3. So I do recommend that her book would be useful. I'm going to tell you a couple things that she said. And she said that mostly what causes procrastination is a rigid or extreme attitude about what we need to do. And that underpins all of our procrastination issues. So rigid meaning we have a rule set, and extreme meaning if we were on a spectrum, we might say something like, I can't do this thing unless I do it perfectly. Now, we all know perfectionism is not a great value to have. But if we have that rule set that says I have to operate only on the highest level possible, then we're not able to actually do the work because we have a rule that says it has to be perfect. And most of us can't do something we've never done before perfectly the first time. I mean, that is, like I said, we're human. How could we pull that off? So she said that we tend to have three parts to procrastination. We have a task, we have a time frame, and we postpone doing it. Okay, very simple languaging. And then we either take our action at the last minute. Some of us are motivated by that last minute. We wait and there's a reason, or we don't do it until after it's due. And so then we feel bad about it. There's a reason for that. Or we don't do it at all. And that's kind of the piece that I'm working at today, is that we have that rule set that says we're not deserving of the outcome that we want. Ouch, right? If we don't believe that we get to have the desire in our heart, then we don't allow ourselves to take the steps to go where we want to go. And I want that to not be your story. Now, in the book, she ends it with like 15 tips for things you can do. And the fun part for me was we have covered a lot of those tips just from what I know about procrastination and the things that I have learned so far. She did have a couple others that I wanted to share right now. And I know we're running a little bit longer than normal today, so I'm going to go quickly. But one is allocate time for doing tasks you feel like putting off. So just schedule it. Your procrastination time could be 4 o'clock on a Thursday. You're going to take a half an hour, and you're just going to block that off on your calendar. And that's going to be your time to do all the things you procrastinated on. And you make it like a race. Like, how many things on my procrastination list can I do? And it might be something that as you start to notice you're procrastinating, you write it down on your list. Later, you have this big long list. We're going to analyze that in our upcoming challenge. But now you'll have this list to look at and be like, okay, I'm going to do that at this time period. She also says that we really need to be in touch with when we are best, when our energy is the best. Like if you're a morning person and you know it, schedule your tasks, your time to do the things that are on your goals list, your dream list. Schedule those during those times when you have the most energy. Don't do it when you are wiped out. Like when you get home from work and you're like, oh my God, I can't handle anything else. That's not the time to try to work on your personal goals. The next one is do the most unpleasant or difficult thing first. So whatever is causing you the most angst on your to-do list, do that one as a priority, get it off the list right away, and you will have such a better day. Because a lot of times we just stew in the mess of we don't want to do it. And that makes it harder and harder and harder to do. It's not actually the action that we delay on. It's the doing. It's the getting everything in the right order to sit down and write. Okay, like if that's what's holding you back is you haven't been writing, it's not the writing. It's the sitting down and allowing yourself the time to do it. And then the last one, I thought this was really fun, and we're going to end on this one, is use paradoxical intention. So basically, it's like playing opposite day. So what if you force yourself to procrastinate? What if you say, I can't do that thing? And you kind of just play a mind trick on yourself where you're like, but I want to do that thing, right? Like there's actually an exercise that Tony Robbins does where we play like devil's advocate, where like you rant for the reason why you can't do something, and you do it with a group of people and they all support your story. So like if you say, I can't clean my house, it's just too hard, I don't have the time or whatever, then they support it. They're like, you're right. You don't have the time. You are the busiest person in the world. There is no extra time in your life. You're never going to be able to do it. That is perfect. You should just sit on the couch and not do the thing that you are meant to do. Do you understand what I'm doing there? So I love that concept because, hey, it's a pattern interrupt. And sometimes when we're stuck in the habit of procrastination, which we're not going to be anymore, right? But if that is you, then you need to do something different. You need to switch it up. You need to assume a different identity. And so if you would like more information on that book, I'm actually thinking about doing a course just on procrastination. It'll be short, but I wanted to get like all the parts of that book written down and addressed so that anybody that has procrastination in the future could just go watch the short course and have the information, and then they could come into the master class and work on it. So if you think that's a good idea, put in #pro. I won't spend the time creating the course if I don't have a lot of people saying, hey, that would be great. And if you put in the #pro, I will also be letting you know about the upcoming masterclass that we have. So my masterclass is usually the first week of every month. This one, it's November 1st through the 3rd. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. And it is From Procrastination to Desired Destination. And it's 3 days where we are covering all things related to procrastination and how you can overcome it and get to where you want to go. And you'll notice across the bottom, the name of the edition, because of our United States Thanksgiving holiday, is Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. And this is actually a look at the emotions behind procrastination. So we are really going to dig deep into the emotional part of why we procrastinate this month. And I think it's going to be a really good experience. So I can already see I've got some comments on here, people saying they're grateful for the message. And don't forget to put in #pro and let me know that you would like to have that course. And I'll put some time into developing that if that becomes something that we think is going to work for us. One last thing I want to share is that on Mondays, most Mondays, because third Monday of the month, we have our check-in for our goals for the month. But most Mondays, we are going to have a new members meet and greet Zoom. It's going to happen right after this live. And so if you are wanting to participate in this, go ahead and put meet and greet in the comments, and I will send you the link. If you're a new member, you should have gotten the link already in your Messenger account. So go ahead, check your link, and come on over and visit with us. If you're watching the replay and you see this, then join us next Monday, or reach out to me if it's not cohesive in your time zone to have this meeting at 7:30 a.m., then let me know, and we will work out a special time to get to meet and greet you and have the group get to know you. All right. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing week. If you celebrate Halloween, enjoy it, make some great memories, have some laughs, enjoy some costumes, be safe. And even if you don't, enjoy this week, and let's have a really good time at the November Masterclass together. I love you, and I hope you have a great day. And if anybody caught my thing, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, you rock. And let's talk to you soon. Take care. Okay, and Margaret did answer #pro. I love it. Take care, you guys.